All right, got a question from one of our friends. His question was, when should you introduce the e-collar to your dog? Okay, so I know the e-collar is such a hot topic right now, and funny enough is I just bought a new one. Okay, so I do got some perspective on this one because I understand some countries are banning it, other trainers are using them. That's all they use. I know some people they use as a band-aid. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I have trained Ace on the e-collar, okay? So I do have some perspective because there's a lot of he said, she said, and things like that. But there are a lot of good trainers. If you take away the e-collar, they are still a good trainer. And Larry Cohen's a great one. Again, the same names I always reference. Larry Cohen, Robert Cabral, Oscar, I'm sure Andy or Noah. Again, I don't know these people personally, but I know their content. I know how they are as a trainer, and I guarantee you they are very respectable and respectable to the dog, so they know how to use it and they know what they're talking about. Okay, I trained, like I said, I trained Ace on it, so I do have my own perspective, so I understand it's a lot of he said, she said, should you or should you not? Okay, so here's my perspective. I would start with Ace. I didn't start with him till he was about 3 because of his temperament. He was just that good. However, with Ava, because Ava's always the rowdy child, so I'm going to pick on her for a little bit. When she was a puppy and she was barking in her crate, couldn't be left alone, I didn't use an e-collar. When I was ingraining the basic obedience, sit, stays, things like that, I think I even put one of the videos, one of our first sessions together, never used an e-collar. Walking on a leash while walking with Ace, never used an e-collar. Even when she got older and we realized she's very reactive towards people and other things, still never used an e-collar. Took her to class, again, got her obedience and even some of the more competition stuff into her, still never used an e-collar, excuse me. Finally, and I've told you this before, I was going to probably end up getting one, and I finally did. Right here, Dogtra, same one I used with Ace, but his crapped out. And again, because I'm transparent, we did actually have one on Ava when she was a puppy because she wanted to eat her own shit, and that was the only thing. We were using it as a deterrent, but it was a piece of shit. Literally, the e-collar that we got sucked ass. I threw that some bitch in the garbage. So really, she still never got trained on the e-collar. Finally, I know this date for a fact because it was Ace's birthday. It was August 11th. And as we all know, I'm not going to say it anymore. Haven't been able to take them both out, before my health reasons. But we took him out because it was Ace's birthday. We took him to PetSmart because we wanted to get him a few toys for his birthday, get him out of the house, get him some ice cream, things like that. We took Ace. Kelly and I both went. When she's with me and alone, she is fine. Okay? But because of the time, because it's now she's with Big Brother, stimulus is higher. Now we went with Big Brother and Kelly, stimulus is even higher. Now we're with Big Brother, Kelly, and going to PetSmart where the scents and noises and things like that are even higher. So naturally, she was overstimulated, and I'm not going to lie, I felt like a failure for a little bit because of how much I had to correct her. She literally wanted to go. She was so overstimulated with everything that she was wanting to burst through her collar. She got the prong collar on her, and she wanted to go. She was literally kind of like I always said with the harnesses, or even with the collar, if they're driving into it, and Ava's fucking, pain threshold is through the roof. She sets her sights on something, her pain level would forget the pain. She will just go until she gets what she wants. It was just too much. I even had a gnarly little, it's healed or healing for the most part right now, blister cut pretty deep into my skin just because of how much she wanted to pull, get to where she was. I defaulted back to obedience. This sits with me, bunch of U-turns, few corrections, but because of how amped up she already is, and then you put her in an overstimulated area, it was a lose-lose. And if luckily the store was pretty empty and it was closing, that I had to correct her so many times and so harshly, it was unfair. And this is where I felt like a complete failure as a dog owner, as a trainer, and everything, because I was literally at a loss because it was just too much for her. And it's my fault because of just how much, stimulus there was. Even when she was sitting, she was still yapping and barking because she just couldn't hold it all in. Okay. So that was when I made the decision to get the Ecollar, the Dogtra. I used same brand with Ace and had very great results with them. So that's why I did some research, got this new one. It's got some cool features and toys. I am not a brand ambassador for them. I do not get 1 cent. If you want to look them up, make your own decision, go for it. Don't do as I do. Look at, everything that you need in order to train your dog. Do it because I just know it's a good brand. It was great for Ace, and the battery just literally crapped out. But like I said, this one's got some cool features. I'm looking really forward to not just the, what do you call it? It's the hands-free one where it's just clicking rather than having the big toggle for it. So, big remote, excuse me. So it's got the hidden finger ones, but rather than having the big remote, I can use that. So I'm really looking forward to using it. Anyways, getting back to this. Got it a couple of days ago. Have put it on her, and I still haven't used it. Okay? Watch this. Ava, come here. If you can see it. Ava, come here. Come here. Right there, you can see the orange little strap around her. Still haven't used it. After 2 days of her wearing it, still haven't used it. And it's one of those things again. And Oscar had a great interview. I forget the gentleman's name. He is just fabulous. Every time I watch him, it's just like he puts in perspective. He puts in words that I wish I could put it in. Again, because I always say these guys are better than me, and I just want to get to their level because I respect them so much. I just want to be one of them. I forget the gentleman's name, but essentially you're just, I was doing this again without knowing it, you are literally just associating good things with the e-collar. Okay? So even though I have it on her, I still haven't used it, still haven't even turned the fucking thing on because I just want her to get used to it, to have it around her neck because, even just here, she's not playing, she would just sit and just want to scratch because it's something new and different. But I just want to associate good things and training are parallel with the e-collar. I do not want her to see the e-collar and get deterred and be like, oh shit, I'm going to be wearing this now. I got to be on good behavior and I feel like I'm in jail and prison because I don't know when you're going to shock me. That is the last thing I want. Okay. So my perspective is on all this is very individual. First of all, as a dog owner, you have to understand what the e-collar entails. Okay. Just like you give a hammer to somebody, they could build a beautiful house. You give an idiot a hammer, he can whack you in the head. So understand the responsibility of the e-collar. Go find any of the list of names that I gave you, because again, they can give you the full breakdown. And I'll eventually do a breakdown with the e-collar as well. I just want to get them accustomed to it and get them worked through, and how I might even make it just a own little series as I do every session with her with the e-collar so you can see it. Might do that actually. But anyways, if you want something fast like that, go for it. But the biggest thing though is what I'm trying to say with the e-collar is get a solid foundation of obedience first. Because I can get other clients' dogs to a certain level without the e-collar. I can probably clean up some of the stuff because of the e-collar. I could probably clean some of those stuff up. It might just take a little bit longer without the e-collar. The e-collar, once again, it's like any kind of, not leash, but collar, whether it's a prong or a flat, martingale, chain, whatever it is. Probably train any dog off of that. So up your skills as a handler first. I understand the get rich quick stuff, the quick result stuff. Everyone wants it. I get it. I was there. I've spoken about it in length. Plenty of times that I get annoyed and my patience is tested because patience isn't one of my virtues. I'm learning that I have to get better at it. But again, I was patient with her to get her obedience to a certain level that finally I just needed to clean up and just needed something else because it wasn't fair to her to go through certain situations. Yes, you can blame partially of it on me or a lot of it on me because of just going full throttle. Throw it on me. I don't care. But I do not want to have to go through those episodes of where it's unfair. I'd rather be able to dial her back easier without yanking her. And again, if people saw it and they weren't, intellectually understanding what I was trying to do, they were just seeing optically, this guy's an asshole, then I get it. Okay? So that's the last thing I want. So for you, or for anybody who wants to, consider the e-collar, first, get your fundamental obedience up. The sits, downs, plots, heeling, anything like that. Don't go the quick route. This is why I always say when you're trying to build a strong dog, you're also building a strong bond. Because if you just jump into something like that, your character now is, I just want all these problems solved rather than understanding the perspective of the dog. And that's the last thing you want. You want to train from their perspective backwards. It's not about you and getting, yes, you want your dog to comply to you naturally, but for the sake of the dog, help them get to where you want to be. Just like, if you're a manager of an employee or your child, you can tell them what you want to do forcefully, but it probably won't last. You want these behaviors to stick, so do everything you possibly can to hone in those things. What else do I want to say about this? And I just know because of the way my brain works, you want to go from one extreme to the other. Some dogs who are just genetically gifted and are easy to train make you look like a great trainer. Some dogs are just assholes. And no matter what you do, if you can't handle that dog physically, or you can't get through to that dog and you need that extra little something, an e-collar could benefit from. You can benefit from an e-collar. That dog can benefit from an e-collar. Or if you can't physically handle your dog, you can benefit from an e-collar. However, for the broader audience, I would invite you to wait as long as possible before you introduce the e-collar. This way, the dog will have these things, will be ingrained. They want to do these things because you've taught them, you're going to get a positive reward from it. Just don't do it as a deterrent. And just don't do it to cover up bad training. And like I said, there's plenty of trainers out there that you can find this stuff from. I'll start putting more out there. So that's my perspective. Wait as long as possible. Train your dog as best as possible. Do everything you can to negate any force or external repercussions. Make your dog want to do things for you rather than you just forcefully putting the dog into these things. So that's it. I'm rambling at this point. Talked way too long. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below. And I'll go ahead and start making videos about the e-collar as well. And you can start seeing me training Ava with it as well. Anything else you want to see on the channel, just throw it in there and let me know. But good luck. Talk to you next time. Done.